pleasure to be here today. And as said, Kari Kankaala, and you can choose the title. My talk is more or less a continuation of what Anni said earlier in the morning, talking about the challenges what the cities tackle with today. And then Ken from Granlund mentioned that it's not about single technologies, but actually in construction, in buildings, and I think Mimo said the same, it's the collective power of technologies, or the collective effect of existing technologies that actually makes the difference and the user experience. I'm taking this a little bit further and maybe too far. We have been talking here today, and typically in this kind of smart city sessions, we talk about all kinds of technology goodies and gadgets and things. And but from a city perspective, should we be interested in defining technology platforms, or should we be interested in defining services that we need for our citizens? Living as a service is a kind of, or housing as a service is a far-fetched idea, maybe. If you think back when software as a service was the first one, I believe that was introduced as a service instead of as a product. And the main reasons behind there were the ease of delivery, the ease of upgrades, and the ease of use for those who used it. About 3 years ago or so, 4 years ago, we started talking about mobility as a service. And there the idea was to look at possibilities that would make transport, mobility, moving easier for people than it is today. And so housing or living as a service, you could think of that, even if the thought is far-fetched, what would that mean for people? And I believe we all agree that anything that could ease up our everyday life would be much welcomed. So if these are the mega trends, and these are two different mega trends on the left and right, if these are the mega trends that are bulldozing the world today, they are not kind of emerging silent signals, but they are loud and clear. You can read the writing on the wall everywhere. If these are the signals, are we saying that nothing is changing in the way we live, we build houses, we entertain our everyday life, especially if we are so convinced that sharing economy is going to be all over the place in the next few years. It's already here in many ways, and is a mega trend that's growing. Will that not affect our living? A glimpse to the US to honor the meetings of the two presidents yesterday. These are just some of the glimpses what's happening in the US. And why US? Because they are in terms of urbanization, they are several steps ahead of Finland, at least on the east and west coast. So what happens there are kind of possible inclinations to what might happen in Finland and in Europe later on. People are willing to change their living. They are saying that they are interested in changing the way they live. They are interested in changing the space they need for living. And if they are willing to give up on something, they are requesting something else in return. And this is something that we as a cities, you as a building professionals, we are obliged to do that. If that's what the customer is saying that they're needing, why don't we provide anything? There are some nice examples of novel kind of startups that provide living as a service. They typically use old buildings, etc. And they are they take care of all the aspects of the living. But we could also discuss that is it not the whole living that has to be provided as a service? How about just a smart part of the living? Or some other parts of the living? What are the implications of people wanting something more and we not being able to provide? What should we do together that would make living different in a cities here in Finland, where we are densifying the cities, we are having less and less green space, etc. And yet, we wish to have them more and more livable, and livable cities actually is a much stronger statement from a city than a smart city. Smart cities are easy to do, but if the cities are livable, then they really are smart. So are these new ideas? No. Go check VTT Future Trends 2006. You find a good talk on living as a service. Go check what the Prime Minister's office came out with 2010. You find ideas on living as a service. So these ideas are not new, and yet we together are providing them all the time, but only to the elderly people. To the elderly people we provide living as a service in all cities, and it's a joint effort of construction companies, of developers, of service providers, of the cities. So why not take a look at that in an easier environment? The elderly people are hard to take care of. They're stubborn, and then they and gets more expensive after they're not stubborn. And there have been these kind of boarding homes or boarding hotels. The romantic example of Chelsea Hotel in New York is one. Naturally, those were kind of deemed not to be suitable for children to live in, but doesn't that leave now, with all the technologies that we have at our disposal, something to think about? And the following couple of slides will tell you that we're serious. We are interested in talking with you on possibilities. We don't have any solutions for the questions that I raised, but we would be very willing to go on a path together with you on this trip. And we would be willing to experiment. We have land, we have some buildings, we have monopoly on giving building permits and city planning. So there are some things we can help with, and we would welcome you to do that. And the Hiedanranta is a brownfield where we hope to have 25,000 people and 10,000 jobs by 2040. The first people will be living there in 2021, 2022. And there, we want that area to be the smartest place in the world to live in. We hope to build a novel kind of smart city there. Use it as an innovation platform for everything, and have it as a sustainable environment as well. Smart can't be without sustainability. So that's our ultimate aim. And now it's time to start experimenting on what kind of living solutions could we provide for citizens and, of Tampere and for the other cities. And if you're successful, this will be a product that you can take all over the world. Thank you.